One day you stand up, and you start to walk. Even as the world as you've known it decays all around you, some people out there daring to say God is different than the church teaches he is, you walk. You pick up a cane and a lantern and you walk, all alone, without a care in the world. You pick up a lute, and you play it for the amusement of anyone who cares to listen. And sometimes you sit down among the kids, and tell them things nobody cared to tell them so far. Back before you started your trip towards nowhere you've been reading the works of the philosophers, and now they replay in your head. There's nothing certain about that world, but a man has to go on despite that, on his path towards that one something that will make him delude himself he's whole. Even as you say those words to people, you smile the most brilliant smile they've ever seen. Everywhere you go, people want you to stay, but it's your fate to go on, and you know you won't stop until death stops you in your track. And then you meet him, yet again. He's pale and his eyes burn, and his hands are covered in stigmata. People admire him wherever he goes, because they believe he can cure diseases with his bloodied hands, and he claims he sees the saints in his dreams. He follows you. You've never thought that would happen. Even since you've started to walk you decided on a life of loneliness. Whenever you sit down to play music for the passerbys, and hit a cheerful note he gets angry, and you end up playing haunting melodies for him, so he can sing about how cruel God is, and how he's going to destroy that world in a few years, because it turns its back on him. People stop and stare and stop to smile. Then you go on, without explaining anything to them. You learn how his stigmata are a work of a knife in his very own hands. Your lantern doesn't give much light at night, but it's enough to see the resignation in his eyes as he runs that knife through his hands and stares at the blood pouring. You don't understand him. But you don't want to leave him alone. Even as he stares at his hands in the morning, taking them up and smiling when the sun peeks through the holes he's made in them, you learn to love him. You walk together ever since then, a philosopher and a mystic, both having lost all their hope. One of the nights, the severe wind throws your lantern out of your hand, and it shatters in pieces. You go on in the darkness. The smell of blood constantly pouring out of his wounds lures the wolves in. You die devoured by beasts. A fitting end to a trip to nowhere.